Call the Village of Johnsburg, June 27, 2024, special meeting of the President and Board of Trustees to order at 7 p.m. On the roll, Trustee Morris. Here. Trustee Hagan. Here. Trustee Clemstein. Here. Trustee Foreman. Here. Trustee Falk. And Trustee Here. Can we stand for the pledge, please?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Laura, you're up. Laura King.
Hello, everybody. My name is Laura King, and I live at 2718 Tishfield Terrace here in Johnsburg. To stand before you as a past president of the Johnsburg Area Business Association, and I am here tonight just advocating on behalf of small businesses and new businesses and developments within the Village of Johnsburg. I think that it's really important that we do everything that we can as a village to welcome people, to accommodate people, and to make their dreams of small business ownership possible in this community, because it not only provides value to them as entrepreneurs, but also to the rest of the community who, as a resident, I live here. I would love to see more local businesses. I would love to have more places locally where my tax dollars are going back into the community, and where there are places that we can go to, run out to, maybe even walk to, where my kids could work out when they get a little bit older. And that's not going to happen unless we find a way to make it possible for these small businesses not only to open, but to thrive, to sustain and thrive in our village. So if there's absolutely anything that you could do to consider to make it possible for small business owners' dreams to come true, as a resident, I would really appreciate your support in the future. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thanks, Laura.
I'll entertain a motion to approve the omnibus agenda. A motion.
I'll motion.
Motion by Trustee Falk and seconded by Trustee Foreman. Is there discussion on the motion or anything anybody would like pulled?
Before you, let's just pull the non-highway vehicle bid ordinance.
Okay.
Please.
Any other discussion on anything else or anything anybody else would like pulled?
One.
Go ahead.
Lenny Hoffman is the Sunnyside Drive contractor, and that's the final payment there?
No.
There's a retainage.
There's still retention on it.
Okay, there is.
There's still
Okay,
retention.
then I'll pull that.
It's not final.
Okay. That's it.
So you don't want to pull
Nope.
Lenny? Lenny's okay.
Yeah.
Okay. On the roll for everything but non-highway vehicles. On the roll, Trustee Morris, Trustee Hagan.
Aye.
Trustee Clemstein.
Aye.
Trustee Foreman.
Aye.
Trustee Falk. And Trustee Lester. Motion carried. Now, could we entertain a motion to move to approve ordinance 24-25-01, amending chapter 15.515, operations of non-highway vehicles on village streets of the Johnsburg Municipal Code. Can I have a motion and a second?
Thank you.
Motion by Trustee Letzker, seconded by
I'll second.
Trustee Hagan. Okay, discussion on the motion. Beth?
I'm just clarifying the language here.
Okay.
That I missed. I'm saying that I missed looking at this before, so my bad. And we're very clear about the trailers are still okay on the golf carts,
No trailers on golf carts,
unless it's on private property.
unless it's on private property.
Okay.
Trailers on golf carts can not go down the road with people on them if you can't take a boat down the road behind a car with people in the boat. That's illegal. Go in a camper behind a car with people in it. It's illegal.
If somebody's...
So the trailers that people are talking about putting behind their golf cart to haul people are not legal.
Not people, but let's say a kid's got a lawn service and he's rolling a lawnmower down the street.
The ordinance specifies for carrying passengers. Very
That's it.
specific,
That's what,
yeah.
that's all I
We
want to
do
make
have
sure we
kids
have
in
it.
Lawnmowers,
Halloween
we
is
don't have any.
Yeah,
Halloween is a big one. Thank you.
Halloween is a big one.
I thought we said for
The devil's
parades
in the
too.
details.
That was going to be.
And parades.
Well, we say exemptions may apply for
Authorized
village
events
authorized
such as
events.
parades.
Vinnie, were you gonna say
It's
something?
definitely-
Lawnmowers are not highway vehicles per that statute.
Okay, all right. Thank you. Having that at the ready.
Do we need any further point?
No,
clarification?
thank you.
Is everybody happy with that?
Who is the village designee? Just out of curiosity.
CSO Schmidt, and sometimes I perform inspections on non-highway vehicles, and we're not actually sworn police officers.
Okay, that's a fair. Thank you.
You're welcome, trustee.
Okay. Any other further discussion on the non-highway vehicles? With there being none, trustee Morris?
Aye.
Trustee Hagan?
Aye.
Trustee Flemstein?
Aye.
Trustee Foreman?
Aye.
Trustee Falk? And trustee
Aye.
Holt. Motion carried. Because of the long presentation on budgets, I'm going to forego the president's report. I really don't have anything more than we had the last time. Other than mentioning the adult night out, Party in the Bird,
Yep.
July 26th, okay?
Wristbands are available, $10 at a time, $15 at the door, 21 and older, BYOB, 2 food trucks. We do have Felix and Fingers back again with some limitations, but backed by popular demand, they'll be there. So July 26th at Rescue Squad Park. And again, if anyone needs any wristbands ahead of time, you can come to the village or any of the trustees have them as well.
Right. And trustees are taxed to buy them or sell them.
Yeah, right.
Okay. Jeffrey Elzer, Mr. Elzer, 2604 Chapel Hill Road.
Thanks for you guys here. I didn't know what to expect. I've never been here to see this, so I only did 7. So I guess
We
my
can
official
share.
here. There you go.
We can share if you want.
That's
Yeah.
okay. You're welcome. I've met most of you guys before. My name is Jeff Elser. I own Cal Partners in America along with my partner, Clay Sear. And people I have not met is Mr. Morris and Mr. Lesser, and maybe a couple of you guys over there. So nice to meet you. First and foremost, thank you guys for taking time tonight to entertain this. I know there's probably a lot of other things you'd rather be doing. In these folders, you're going to find a couple of different things here. Pretty much my vision and my scope. My vision for Pallet Partners of America and the business located at 2604 North Chapel Hill Road. You're going to see a couple of pictures in there of the CrossFit gym and some of the things that we're doing up there. I have some before and after pictures. I'm sure you guys are very well aware of the property, Radicon property, but this will show you some of the before pictures of the property and some of the things that we've done to the property. I've also included some of these drawings and some things that we submitted to the village administrators early on for consideration, which we can further discuss in another debate. So our vision for Pallet Partners of America and the Radicon building is, we came from a pallet manufacturing background. After we had sold our last company, which was located in Richmond, Illinois, we decided to open up a brokerage office for pallets, which does not need any manufacturing, although we can still get into manufacturing in the future. We also own a couple other businesses, which is Midwest Packaging Solutions. We sell packaging items to companies nationally from California to Massachusetts, along with pallets. Our third business is Westlake Capital Group. We own quite a few rental properties in the area, from McHenry up to southern Wisconsin, Milwaukee. All three are brokerages. All three are ran by the same office personnel, which are 4 people, 4 cars. The Radicom building, when I first saw it, it said Flex Industrial, okay? As I mentioned, we own some real estate. We have a great real estate attorney. As the deal went through, nobody ever told me that Flex Industrial is not allowed in Johnsburg. So I was completely, taken back when I found out that that is not something that we could do there. So, we moved in, with our real estate background, we say to ourselves, what can we do to make this building pay for itself? So initially we think, okay, what can we put in these warehouses? We're not going to really do any manufacturing here because we're brokerage offices. The way it's designed, I don't know if any of you have been there, maybe a couple of you have, I invited you in, but there's a lot of offices, right? So we're like, okay, maybe the side offices we could lease out to maybe a realtor, maybe an insurance adjuster, somebody that has low traffic that really just needs an office to visit, to do some paperwork, or maybe they have a customer coming in, but they're mostly on the road. So that was the vision for the office. The back of the building, we didn't know we were going to put in there. It's 3 garage doors, tall ceilings. We didn't know if it would be a car repair guy, or, in our head we're like, really, maybe we should keep that open because, we do need to bring material in from time to time for, some of our customers, Campbell's Foods, Medline, 3M, and we direct ship from our vendors. But there's always emergencies in our business, so we thought, maybe some of this warehouse space we'll put some more packaging items, maybe some custom crates from time to time. And then, another business owner in the area, Max and Jess, had said, hey, we have a friend that runs CrossFit 120, and they're right on 120, and she's looking to leave that facility and find a new home. So for me, that was kind of a slam dunk because, I personally, we've been doing CrossFit for, 8 years now, and it's a big part of my life. So and they're usually located in industrial areas. It's usually a garage, they call it a box. It's very community oriented. And we said, I think that would work out pretty great. So we invited Drea in and kind of went over some terms, and we thought, okay, Flex Industrial, yeah, we can make this work. The last building on the property is a structure that the previous owners put up for storage, and we plan on doing the same thing there. We're going to store some items in there. It could be some of our business items, could be some of our personal items. And then behind that, there is it's a gravel lot that the previous owners stored plowed trucks for Juneau City. They stored their own trucks. I think they rented out to a pavement company for a while. There's piles of pavement everywhere. This is what the last owners told me to. And just, we plan to do it the same way. So, fast forward past all this, we started to do some renovations inside. Everything is cosmetic. Okay, so we repainted, well, just see in the picture, we repainted walls and put in fresh floors and bathrooms, and because it was very outdated in the 70s. And, Drea started her build out. We had a local fireman from McHenry make us some signage. We put our Cal Partner sign up. We put our Midwest Packaging sign up. And, it was nice of the village to do this. I had received a call just saying, hey, Jeff, you're in zoning violation, but why don't you come in and let's talk about this? So I said, okay, that's surprising. I don't know what I'm violating yet, but that's great. We'll come and talk to you. So that's what we did. We came in, we met with Claudette, Vinny, myself, and Clay, and we kind of just told them our vision, told them the same thing you're telling you now, and, we were, mentioned that, hey, if you want to do this, you can go to B1 zoning, and you can do all this. It's totally fine, and we're like, oh, okay, cool, that's great, I think that's a good plan. We looked up some stuff on the TV and blah, blah, blah. So we leave the meeting thinking like, this is fine, this is gonna work, we can let Trader's Jim go, fine. We can deal with the signage, we might put on one sign, whatever. after, with all our real estate, it's all residential or multifamily. So we actually don't know anything about zoning. We know nothing about zoning. So we start researching it, and we should research it pretty heavily. And what wasn't discussed with us is once you go to B1, you never go back to I zoning. Like this building has been industrial. It's been there since before Johnsburg has even been incorporated. Okay, so this is a staple of the community. It's got a lot of history in it, which I can share at a later date, but some of you may know it. And so it just for us, yes, we want this gym to succeed because we think it's a great thing for the community, but God forbid, if something, another COVID happens, whatever, and the gym closes its doors, and we need to go to manufacturing some pallets again, or maybe one of our customers, John Deere, says, hey, we need these special crates, and we need to manufacture some crates there. We want that ability to be able to do that in the future. Not that we will, because our future plans, to be quite honest, is to greenfield a larger building, somewhere else, where there'll be a state-of-the-art pallet facility again. But we want that opportunity if it arises, because it's happened in the past. So, that being said, when we kind of came back and said, hey, B1 really doesn't work for us, quite a few roadblocks popped up for us. We were told our violations are, that we can't have more than one name on the sign, okay? I researched that. I researched it quite a bit, and I don't see anything that says that, I can't have more than one name on the sign. Your sign zoning section defines that multiple face signs, and there are properties owned business that have multiple face signs throughout the village. Everybody sees it, everybody drives by it. So, I'm told only one principal business on the property, and that's why I'm in violation. I researched the heck out of this. The way we interpret it and reviewed, the rule states that it's one principal business, not one principal, it's one principal building, not one principal business. So it's, that's a big difference. To say you can only be one business, and it's one building, that's two different things. So we were told that to store anything in the back, we have to have the entire back paved, and we have to have fencing with screening around the entire back. And, through diving into this research, I've read the Bartman's minutes, because the Bartmans in 2017 had had applied to the village to put a structure in the back. And, again, I've been told multiple times the reason I can't do a lot of these things is I'm not conforming, right? I'm not conforming. The Bartmans were not conforming, and they were allowed to put a structure in the back. And that structure doesn't even meet the setbacks. So there was a variance approved for the Bartmans, and when it came to the meeting minutes, which has nothing to do with probably a lot of you, they bring up fencing, and they bring up the ground and things like that, and he says. And they bring up, water flow and things like that, and they state in there that the trees provide a natural fencing, okay? And the ground is packed aggregate, and the drainage goes to the back of the property. Well, none of that has changed. If you come there, half of the place is a wall this high of dirt, okay, that backs up to one of the properties. The others, everything's covered in trees, so none of that has changed. So I guess I'm wondering why we're being held to a new standard than what has already previously been, accepted. Besides that, for one, I didn't want to dig into all this stuff, but you drive around and you see multiple businesses that don't have fences, multiple businesses that don't have pavement, that have gravel or things stored outside. So, those are some of the things that unfortunately I've come across. We were told that we have to have a fence up, and none of our trailers or trucks can exceed 6 feet in height. My pickup truck's over 6 feet in height. Okay, we sell pallets to Fortune 500 companies, down to the guy who makes the little piece on the end of this thing. Okay, that's a little tiny business, whatever. I find it very hard to believe that you can have a commercial zoning or an industrial zoning that doesn't have a truck or a trailer over 6 feet tall. Okay, every semi-trailer is, 13-floor, tractors, trailers, that's a very tough one. And then even after further research, what I came across is, that's for C1 zoning, it's not even for industrial zoning. So, again, just another roadblock that, after research is really not accurate. And I mean, besides me, like even for the village, anybody in commercial, that's a tough one. Like that's a tough one for any commercial business to do business and have a truck or a trailer not over 6 feet. That's almost impossible to ask of a commercial business. After being told no, you can't have a gym because that doesn't fit in the industrial, what's allowed in industrial, right? I said, that's fine, we can go back to our plan of manufacturing, and I also own a semi-trailer leasing company, which that business is in Woodstock. I have a couple hundred semi-trailers and growing. I said, okay, well, if I can't, store some, can I bring my semi-trailers here, park them in the back and store stuff in that? Well, I was told no. Why? Okay, well, because you have to go to, I was told I have to go to McHenry and get a highway study that's $4,500, and you might not be able to pull trailers in there because of the traffic and all this stuff. And I have a lot of contacts in McHenry because we own several rental properties, and we're very tight into McHenry because of my girlfriend and things like that. And I made a bunch of calls, and they said, we don't believe that's true. They said, if you're zoned industrial and you haven't changed your zoning, there's really no reason why you couldn't pull a semi-trailer or a truck in there. And with our past experience, every person that we sell pallets across the country, who maybe is commercial, maybe is industrial, they would never be able to run a business without a semi-truck or a trailer pulling in their lot. Just impossible. I had asked, in mind you, this whole fight for me is to keep this gym here. I want to make this very clear. It's to allow this gym, because after my first meeting and said, okay, it's good to go, right? I go back to Dre and I say, hey, continue on with the build out. You're fine, we're gonna make this work, And, she dumps her life savings to do it. She's pregnant. She just got engaged and they're building a new house, right? So, hey, go ahead. I think we're gonna work this out, right? We, after my next meeting when I say, hey, I'm not gonna go to B1, and things start to change, now she's already completed the build out, she's moving members over, it's like, okay, crap, okay, so, all right, I get it, we can't have a gym in industrial because it's not on the paper, okay, so what can we do? Can we have a variance? I'm told no, we can't. Why can't I? Well, because you're not conforming your 1.43 acres, and there's an ordinance that says you have to be 2 acres. Okay, fine, can I go down to C1? Can I do that? Because I think I can do everything that I want to do in my business now and in the future in C1. No, you can't because you're not conforming, because you're not 2 acres. That's another rule. Okay, well, I just bought an industrial piece of property that's not conforming. What about Hillett Ridge? Okay, well, Hillett Ridge is a planned development. Okay, there are a bunch of commercial lots under 2 acres. Why did they get to do that? Well, that was a vacant lot. That was a vacant piece of property, so I was told by, at my third meeting, that it was vacant, so that's why they can do a planned development. And that's allowed in a planned development. Fine, okay, can I do a planned development? No, you can't, you're not conforming. Well, after doing a bunch of research on that, in section 17, I don't see anywhere where I have to be a vacant lot or vacant land to do a planned development. I was told I can't because it's not vacant land. I researched it. I don't see it, So maybe I can do a planned development. I mean, we have Jack Keys doing a planned development of a planned development right now, and there's houses already built on lots. Okay, we have the Waterfront Hotel that is doing a planned development with a business on the property. That's not a vacant lot. So why can't I do a planned development? The building was dilapidated, and aesthetically, it's not nice looking, right? You pull into the village, it's the first thing you see. The bushes were overgrown. The lot hasn't been resurfaced or paved. It looks like crap, and that's the first thing people see when they pull in the village. We came in, we already did the parking lot, restriped it, did all that. We redid the interior, trimmed bushes, we got weekly service on the lawn. Our next project is painting, and then after that, we're gonna do a roof, and we're doing a fresh awning, right? Like, we want it to look clean when you walk in, when you pull into the village. That's our vision. Again, I say, can I have a variance? No, you can't, you're not conforming. Okay. Can I have a conditional use? Can we let the gym stay? Let her run through her lease, For one, we don't have a gym in this community, okay? I personally go to a CrossFit gym out of this community because it's great for my mental health and my physical health. We have people going from our community, outside our community, to go to gyms. I don't see... It's only a benefit, really. I mean, not only is it great for the community, but that's where I've met most of my best friends and some of my closest ties. Lawyers, police officers, firemen, just great people, and I would have never met them without that gym there. Drea is linked up with JD, and they're doing kids programs on Sundays now, which you'll see in the folder. And it's been a success. It's been awesome. Going to conforming use, I ask you guys, why do we have a rule that it must be a minimum of 2 acres? Why? Why limit these businesses with this rule? I would like to understand it, because let's say any place in Hill Ridge sells in the future. If I own a business and now I understand this more, I'm not coming to Johnsburg if I have to buy a commercial lot and I can't do anything that I want to do for growth or stuff happens in your business and you have to change a little bit. And you want to be in a village that wants to work with you and promote your business. And it's hard to do that when you just get a shut door in your face and say, sorry, you're not conforming because there's a 2 acre minimum. Well, that means all of Hill Ridge is not conforming now if they sell the property. My building that's been there, I don't know, since the early 1900s is now non-conforming. And I'm told that, well, you got to conform to the neighbors. Do I have to conform to the neighbors, or do the neighbors who built around it have to conform to the building that's been there forever? That's the question. Again, the neighbors, who do I have? Behind me, I have Mary O'Brien. I'm very good friends with her. She's friends with our family. She has no problem. She's willing to write a letter. She'd probably come here and talk to you guys. You guys all probably know her. She's great. She's awesome. She has no problem with her business. She's awesome. Next to me, I have Frito. He's owned the property for 45 years, and it completely takes up one side of my building. He's invited us into our home. We've been there multiple times. He comes over all the time, tells us how much he loves that we're fixing the place up. He made bird houses for every single person in our business. I mean, he's freaking awesome. He's the coolest old German dude you'll ever meet. The other side of us is vacant lots. Across the street from us is vacant lots. So I don't think it's a neighbor problem. I guess, I know that the village makes text amendments all the time. I know that there's new ordinance brought up all the time. Right now, the way the zoning reads is I can put a strip club there, okay? I can grow marijuana there, and I can have a dispensary there. But right now, the way it reads, I can't have Dre's Gym there. To me, that's a problem, and I really, I'm just here honestly begging you guys to please consider any sort of change to allow her to stay. Monetary value, it makes zero difference for our businesses like us to have her there. It absolutely zero. In fact, sorry, Dre, it would probably be nice that we had the space back, but it's not what's right. It's a woman-owned business that has a kids program and promotes, community programs. If you've ever been to a CrossFit gym, they sound intimidating. They're not. They're not. We have kids there. We have 60-year-old people there. I've met, I can't even tell you how many awesome people I've met. They have a lot of community events too, right? It's very veteran-focused. Murph, right? They salute a soldier that has fallen, and it's a nasty workout. But the whole community gets together, and we do it together. It's awesome. This isn't Snap Fitness. This isn't your big box, 24 hours open, 150 people coming in. This is set classes, 5 classes a day, limited classes. There might be, if you have 9 people in your class, that's a big class, okay? So the traffic is pretty low. We've already established that we have enough parking spots for Dre and her gym and our front offices. And if we were allowed to rent out a couple side offices, we have enough parking for that. We've already established that. You know, I lived in Spring Grove on the chain for probably 15, 16 years. My girlfriend's very tied into McHenry. She's lived there for her whole life, pretty much. I think went to school at Mike. We decided to blend our family 2 years ago. I bought in Dutch Creek. You know, we sold our house, moved to Dutch Creek, and my business partner sold this place in Wisconsin. He just bought next to the high school. We bought our business here. We've probably spent close to $2 million the last 2 years in this village because we believe in this village and we know it's a great place to raise a kid. You know, our kids go to school here. My son just joined the football team. All that we're really asking is for the village to work with us so we can be successful and give back to the village. And that's exactly what we'll do. You know, I don't know if anybody else wants to add anything to that. I don't know if he's allowed to. Is that even allowed?
Really, it should be between you and the board.
Okay.
But if you want to add one thing, we'll allow it.
Sure.
Okay? But let's limit it to some minutes.
Absolutely.
We've heard Jeff's story before and Ballot Partners.
Not everybody had.
But it's really, if you're not on the agenda, you know, that's when I asked you to talk at the beginning of the meeting. But if you want to...
I was under the understanding that you could ask me some time. I apologize. I did have my letter up there, then I took it.
I actually told him to take his letter out because I said, what point would it make for you to speak before I go?
It's all right. I'll make it quick.
Okay.
Esteemed members of the board, ladies and gentlemen, Mr. President, my name's Max Cannon. I am a Johnsburg resident. Actually, my great-great-great-grandmother Victoria Pitson settled to Johnsburg in the 1890s, so we've been here a long time. I'm a business owner. I own Steffen's Jewelers in McHenry. My wife and I moved to Johnsburg in 2017. We just moved into Jeff's neighborhood. We've become very close with them. As a business owner, I try to donate to this community as much as I possibly can. We love this place. We donate to the high school, to the wrestling program, volleyball, co-op outings, Java, anything we can get back. We absolutely love it. We want to see other people that love this community as much as we do. And I think that Mr. Elser and Drea are of the same caliber and want to give back and want to add to this community and want to further the growth. So if there's any way that you guys can work with them, come to find a solution, let them operate that would drive success, I think it's only going to benefit the community and bring other people that have the same vision to this area. So if there's any way you guys can come together, that's all I'm asking. We really want to see just positive people move to this area. So thanks for letting me speak. I appreciate it.
You're welcome.
Yeah, I appreciate that.
Thanks.
I mean, honestly, to close it out, you know, my last email request to the administrators were, you know, can you please at least provide me evidence of the violations I'm in? You know, the response I got back was, here's a link to the village ordinances and have your lawyer look into case law. You know, I really prefer, no offense to you, Mr. Moran, I prefer not to fight you guys legally. You know, can we? Sure. What's the point though, right? It's wasting village money. I think this is something that we can all tackle together. I just want to kind of be fair across the board and hope that you guys will consider to do the right thing, please. And that's it.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks, Jeff. Thank you.
Are we allowed to ask any questions or anything, or how do you want to handle that?
If you want to.
Just a couple of things that stood out.
Sure.
First off, who told you that it was zoned flex industrial?
Well, that is a major mistake. That was the realtor that had it listed for about a year, right? And after, you know, speaking to Mr. Hederman, and he said there's no such thing as flex industrial. And I said, there is, just not here. And technically, based off of the rules that I read, if it states one principal building, not business. So if I can have multiple businesses, that is the true definition of flex industrial.
Well, we don't have that. So,
We can call it whatever we want,
Yeah.
but yeah, that's what it was.
exactly-
So it was a mistake on our part.
Yeah.
We messed up bad. We've never had this happen to us, right? Like, our attorney's been great for real estate, and once we found out that it wasn't what it was like, Oh, great, awesome.
Right.
We may not have bought the property.
Well, we hope, that that's not enough of an obstacle.
I hope not.
But you're coming in with a lot of energy, and the vibe that you're sending off right now is a little aggressive.
You gotta understand, I don't like public speaking.
Right.
For me to get up in front of a board.
But I
okay?
think you get
And
more bees with honey.
I
think,
have
than-
10,000 things
like
going
my
on.
blood pressure's up a little bit, so.
Mine is,
Oh, my God.
you wanna see,
Yeah.
I wish I had my other watch on. This has been 2
So-
months of me researching things that I should be spending my time focusing on my business and growth. But
Right.
instead, I have been digging into ordinances, variances, a million things that I shouldn't be spending my
Right.
time on because I'm getting roadblock after roadblock before even getting to you guys. So I'm not trying to be amped up. I'm not a public speaker, and
Well, you did a
it's a
fine
lot of
job.
anxiety.
You did a good
It's tough
job.
to get up here.
And thank you for the visuals.
You're welcome.
A couple of, what zoning would you prefer? Because you didn't really specify
I
that.
prefer to keep my I-1 zoning.
We don't have that one. You just want industrial zoning.
Oh, I thought it was I-1. Light industrial,
Yeah.
He is I-1.
I am I-1.
We have I-1.
And the
Yeah.
reason that you may not think that is because I'm the only I-1, and that's why I don't want to give it up either.
But as somebody that spent 20 years, me and my colleague, Mr. Lesser, on the zoning, we work very hard at what uses we allow in each zoning category. That's not just folly, it's purposeful.
There was no digs at you by anybody.
No, but I
didn't
know, but
that.
we work really hard at that.
Sure.
So your cart got ahead of the horse a little bit.
What do you mean by that?
Well, you came in and then would like us to make a lot of, considerations, not to say that we're not going to. But, just so there's logic into how those zoning classifications are set up.
I completely understand that.
Right.
I just question some of the rules that have been
Sure.
put in place
And things
because I'm a
evolve.
business owner, right?
Things evolve.
All
for
I
sure.
care about mostly is to make sure my businesses are successful. And, when you go in and you're super limited, I haven't had this experience in Richmond. I don't have this experience in Woodstock. I don't have this experience in McHenry, my businesses, and I didn't think I was going to have this experience
Those
here.
are all different sized towns.
They are.
John,
Everything's different.
right?
Everything's different.
They are.
They are.
Yeah.
And I didn't live in any one of those, okay? So
Yeah.
I live here, I care about this town because, I want to be successful. I'm also on the board for Dutch Creek, not because I have all this extra time during the day or at night. It's because I want my neighborhood to be beautiful. And I've done a lot of great things in there, in my opinion, already.
Right.
With lighting up parks and garbage cans and this and that, and
Well, I can tell you're an energetic person. You bring a lot of good, goodness. But we've got to figure this out, and it's,
yeah,
and I hope we can figure it out.
yeah.
But like deep breath. And we have wonderful village administrators, so that raises my ire a little bit too.
I never said you didn't.
We do.
I never said you didn't. I'm just giving you a real life experience
Yeah.
of what's happening
But
to me.
they have a huge responsibility. Unfortunately, they're the bad guys. We all get to do the stuff, and then they have to uphold what we do.
I completely understand that.
So I'm pretty confident we can find some solution for this, but I will stop talking now, but that was just a couple of
Yeah.
observations
I
I
didn't mean to
made.
come off aggressive. Please understand it. My heart rate's going through the roof. Getting up here a couple of times, I felt like I was going to faint.
Palpable.
I'm like, are the lights super bright, or what's going on in here? Like,
Yeah.
that's why I brought my water.
The
up here,
lights
'cause,
are very bright.
because this is.
But we
not
have
my-
we have a big brain trust of people here
Yeah.
that are problem solvers, and I'd
Yeah.
like to think we can solve this one too.
I think that would be awesome.
But let's just take it down a notch, I think.
I would love to.
That's all I have to say.
Thank you.
Well, I think that was very well said.
Well, I don't know if it was or not.
Yeah, it
but-
was, but the bottom line is, these rules are blatantly enforced with
They
all
are.
that stuff for a reason, okay?
Understood.
And the administration at the hall here, their job is just to enforce the rules that are set
Correct.
up.
That we
They
set,
don't,
yeah.
right, we set, okay? So, they did exactly what they should do, okay? And say that it should be the B1 zoning, that was the answer. They assumed that you were okay with it, and I think you even stated that you were okay with it.
Because I didn't know what it meant, and I didn't know the consequences.
So we got that, and we got the fact that, industrial I-1 zoning flex is not something that even exists, and I'm not too sure it exists at a lot of other places either, but
It's what it
maybe,
was listed at for a year. In fact, some of your village trustees had a deal before me, and they also read the same thing on the paper, and it's never been changed, right? So it actually is a real thing. I brought the documents too to
Yeah,
show you.
it is.
It's a real thing. It's just not recognized here in Johnsburg, and that's fine. I'm just telling you in these papers, and you'll see it, a lot of the roadblocks that have been put up have not actually been quite true. So it's in your, you know, I'm just here to state my case. You know, I'm not here to fight you guys. I want to work with you guys. I live here. I'm going to live here for a long time. Okay, so I'd rather work with you than work against you. That's why I'm here tonight.
Yeah.
All right.
Well, so Jeff came, I was involved in some of those meetings, and then Jeff also came to my Economic Development Committee meeting. And again, I mean, this obviously is a unique situation, but really it really presents itself to us as the board in that what do we do, not just in this case, but in the future, when a business wants to move in that doesn't exactly fit the location necessarily, and what is our flexibility to be able to make adjustments to our ordinances to accommodate that, right? And I understand that the ordinances that we have in place are exactly what Claudette should be following and Vinnie should be following. That's exactly what they're there for. But that doesn't mean that they're set in stone, right? And it doesn't mean that just because we put them in place last year, 5 years ago, 30 years ago, doesn't mean that they have to be there tomorrow, right? So I think as we're looking at this from an economic development perspective, and people are looking to Johnsburg to possibly move their business, we need to be mindful that, again, we're going to be thrown situations that we're not prepared for today. And how do we want to approach those to try and drive economic development in the community? And if the answer is we're okay with what we have, then that's what it is. And then we, you know, that's the answer for Jeff and, I'm sorry, I don't remember. Treya. But, and that's, you know, that's what they have to follow, and that's fine. That's the way it's supposed to go. But I just don't want it to be that's just because it's that way today doesn't mean that has to be what it is forever. So how do we approach that in a way that
That's the process.
in a way that will allow us to evolve over time with some of these, I mean, both of them, the new developments that are raw land or whatever the case may be, and we have a lot of older developments that are in town that we're going to, again, people are going to come to us with ideas, and how are we going to handle it?
How are we currently handling? We're just saying you're non-conforming at this point.
Yeah.
You're going along. What is? Can I ask what as a village, how are we going to handle the gym? The gym fits in B1, right?
Yes.
It also fits in C1.
And why all of a sudden, I'm sketchy why when we suggested business, you were good for it, and then you were okay with it?
I didn't know what B1 even meant.
Because to me, it's like a tangled web. We have to find the place that intersects.
So, you know, it would be like, you know, maybe you come in and you ask me for a pallet, and I just say, yeah, that's a good pallet for you. That, you know, and you get home and you're like, well, no, hold on. What I'm putting on this pallet weighs 3,000 pounds.
Excellent
and blah, blah, blah.
metaphor.
And you come back to me and you say, hey, this pallet just doesn't work for me, right? And that's exactly what happened. We didn't even know what B1 meant. We had no idea, right? So we get this 4-page thing that says, here's what you can do in B1.
Uses,
here's
right?
what you can do in this, right? I mean, I can't study that overnight. That takes time, right? So I go through and I highlight and mark up every single thing that I possibly can do in my business and what I can't do in B1. It doesn't work for me, B1. And it was no disrespect to the village administrators. It's just, I spent $400,000 on the building, and if I can't do what my main business does, or have the ability to do in the future,
Right.
you know, I mean, I'm here fighting for her. Everything that I want to do, I can do right now. Because everything that I was told I can't do so far, it doesn't say that in the ordinances, okay? So I'm literally here just trying to see if there's some possible way to allow Dre to keep her gym here. And that's it.
Hey, Jeff,
Yes.
just a quick question. You sound very astute, business. I like your energy and everything. You have locations all over.
Thank you, sir.
So you must be doing something right
Thank you. Yes.
to keep expanding.
We do love it.
My whole concern is, from step one, you were wrong. Getting in, if that's a realtor,
Yeah. Big learning.
attorney, and I have a hard problem getting my mind why this wasn't. I've been with Beth on that for 20 years. We even wrote some of those ordinances.
Sure.
And why a realtor, a lawyer on your side didn't say, Jeff, I don't know if this is going to work what you have planned. And not you, but a lack of planning on their part now is creating a situation here that we as elected officials follow these ordinances. As the staff, they're not elected officials. They have to follow that.
Sure.
And we put those in for reasons that you've seen some places that are shot. And I'm concerned that just from day one, it seemed either a lawyer, realtor, somebody didn't.
100%. And I completely agree with you. This was a huge wake-up call and a big learning lesson for us. You know, we've always trusted our real estate attorney. They've been awesome. We have 42 properties in the area. Never had a problem.
That's what I'm saying.
Okay, so
It's not like this was your first
never had a
time.
problem. No, but we've never bought, commercial property or industrial property. Like, our last business that we had, we had 3 locations, 300 employees, 300,000 square feet. But I was a small portion owner of it, and I didn't buy the buildings, right? I was on the board to, I never, I didn't know anything about zoning. We messed up. It was a big mistake. It was one of the biggest learning lessons of my life, right? Like, I know more about zoning now than I ever want to know, ever, right? But
If we have an opening on the zoning board.
But we learned a lot, right? So now I know anytime I buy a property for the rest of my life, I'm going to the village, I'm walking in and I'm talking to a person like Vinny and asking them every single question about that property.
Who's so knowledgeable.
Extremely
Yes,
knowledgeable.
these guys
like,
are.
like extremely knowledgeable. But again, like, we messed up, right? Now what do? What do? My options are kick her out and continue to run my business, or try to figure out a way to amend some text to make this work, because it's not a bad thing for the village. We're not proposing something that is like, detrimental or terrible for the, it's a great thing for the village.
But the village did provide you options.
Well, B1 or nothing. And they also provided me a bunch of things that I was in violation of that I'm really not in violation of. The only thing I'm really in violation of right now is having a gym in an industrial piece of property. And back to the zoning part, why can we have a strip club but not a gym there? We can have an athletic field there, but not a gym. I can sell marijuana out of there, but I can't have a gym. So these are some of the things that bother me a little bit. Like, what are we talking about here? What can we work the gym into the athletic field somehow? Is there some way to work together about that? Because CrossFit is half inside and half outside the parking lot. Can I open the doors and call it an athletic field? I mean, I'm willing to work with you guys and figure out any way to make this work. I don't know. Messed up, Learned a big lesson.
Well, just thinking about it, and I think everybody's got to think about it, but I don't see how the I use would ever be happening there. Even if it's zoned there, I mean, that you were talking McHenry, we were talking McHenry County, I think, right away, not the city of McHenry. We're talking about right-of-ways that are there, that are in place. You saw it on the map. It goes from, if that would ever go to that way and that road ever gets put through, like they're saying, 4 lanes to the bridge, okay, if that ever happens, you're going to be down to an acre and a third.
I can deal with it at the time if they decide to expand it.
But, and you said you have 200 trailers.
Right.
There's never going to be 200 trailers that would ever fit there if you put them on top of each other, so.
My intention wasn't to move my 200 trailers there. The intention was I was told I can't have storage containers, which I understand, but there's probably 100 storage containers at other businesses located in Johnsburg that's not being enforced. Okay, and if we decide that we're going to start enforcing that, it's going to be a very big problem for a lot of business owners here. So, my recommendation was maybe we look at, containers with a special approval from the village that says, hey, here's my container, it's stored behind my fence, it's stored behind my building, here's the use for this container. And that's all I was bringing up that point. I can move the containers tomorrow. I can put a trailer under the containers, okay? I was never intentionally going to move 200 trailers here, but my point being is I can move trailers there because it is industrial. If McHenry County decides to open up that road, if Highway 12 coming out of Lake Geneva, they decide to blow out all that property and run 53 all the way down to 53.
It was supposed to happen 69 years ago.
It's my point. In McHenry County may never open up a 4-lane road. Why is Highway 12 from Fox Lake all the way up into freaking Lake Genoa City 1 lane? I think they would focus on expanding that to 4 lanes before they move Chapel Hill Road up to 4 lanes, in my opinion.
We're not going to argue with you on that.
If it happens, it happens, and I deal with it.
Yeah.
Life's about curveballs, and we deal with it. So, I don't think there would be a problem with me pulling a semi-trailer in there. In fact, I had 2 semi-trailers deliver 2 containers there, and it was no problem.
And Jackie, you said you're open to do C1, but we just didn't offer that.
I was considering C1 minus the 6-foot requirement, but everything that I want to do and allow,
You'd screen it.
I think would be fine with C1, honestly. There's only one spot where there's 2 trees that are missing that goes into the next subdivision that's undeveloped. I'm happy to throw some trees there. I'm happy to, that's no problem. I'd invite any of you guys to the building anytime you want to come check out the inside of the building, come walk around the outside, see what we're doing. Go check out the back. I can't see Mary's house. I can't see Friedel's house. The only spot I can see in the vacant land is the 2 spots where trees are missing. And that's it. The rest of it's completely
Are
covered.
those deciduous trees, or
I don't even know what that means.
they drop their leaves in the wintertime?
No, they're all, yeah, some of them are, but it's like the side on Friedel is all, there's a berm this high.
Coniferous.
But there are a lot of arborvitaes, there's a lot of pine trees that don't, they're needle bearing.
It's good to know that.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
See what we can do.
Thank you, I appreciate it.
Thanks for your
Yeah,
passion.
thank you guys. You guys don't get to debate because debates go around, right? Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks, Jeff.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Thanks, Clay.
thank you guys.
Move to the budget presentation.
May we leave for this?
What a turnout.
It's a lot of I got Just starts.
It's all the same.
Maybe let me flip it.
Who else?
One time as a kid,
Well, I guess I sure know how to clear a road.
Good night, Mr. Keel.
He's in the debate. Talk about taxes and money, look what happens, Becky.
I know, I said I know how to clear a road. Mr. Quinn said you should put me first. All right, well, thank you, everybody, for sticking around for my part tonight. I will present you with the 2025 budget presentation. First, I would just like to recap our 2024 for some of the projects, the vehicles, the equipment improvements that we have done. Some of these projects you're going to see carry forward into fiscal year 2025 that are still being finished. Some projects that just got started. For example, River Sewer, we've gotten through the engineering. We're starting to get kick off with that soon. Church Street's still finishing up, as well as Sunnyside Beach. I won't bore you with going through all the vehicles and the equipment, but the improvements that we did get done this past fiscal year, seal coating the Village Hall, Pillar Park, Pillar Walking Path, Running Brook Farm Path, and our beautiful water tower cleaning.
Can I just pause a second and round of applause, because that's a lot of stuff.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, that is, there's
It all
much to
looks
be
great,
proud
too.
of there.
It looks really, really
For
nice.
everybody in this room, so, good job.
Not me, but all of Public Works and Parks know. So here is the projected year-end revenues. Just kind of touch base on a few of them. Sales tax obviously is our biggest and best. It continues to grow. Last year, we closed out at $2,138,708. So this year, we saw an increase of $85,162 or 3.9%. Utility tax is coming lower. We did anticipate, usually with the weather, we had a very mild winter. That affects in that. Utility tax is the made up of NICOR and ComEd for that. Video gaming, Johnsburg loves their video gaming. Last year, we closed out at $234,930. This year, we were up $30,445 or a 12.9% increase.
How many total machines do we have?
Do you have a question?
Total machines.
Total machines?
Total machines, I would have to get back to you with that.
I'm sorry.
We did add with other companies or other businesses adding the machines.
Right.
And I thought maybe it would just level out, but it's increased. So, but I can definitely get you the numbers of total machines at every establishment.
69.
69.
Thank you.
Good job. I knew it was in there
Fines,
somewhere.
fees, and licenses, building permits alone, we brought in $308,550. We've continued to see the building department growing. People are doing projects. It does not seem to be slowing down. So it's great. You will also see on the expenditure side, we did go over budget with the building plan reviews and inspections. We did this year in December hire a part-time building inspector, kind of keeping some of the smaller things in-house here. So although this is high, you'll see on the other side it was high as well. Grant money is down only because of the timing of when the funds are coming in. So that's a carryover. And park donations is down for the timing of a donation for an improvement project. And then, anybody have any questions on the revenues before I keep going? So we have the projected year-end expenditures for the general fund. I'm happy to report that everybody came in under budget. Jason?
Amazing.
Awesome. You were at 99, but I counted, okay? Public Works came in at 96%. Parks is at 66%. That's, again, with the donation coming in and the timing of the projects of that. So Joe's awesome, but he's not that awesome. Don't tell me that.
It's on record.
Oh, okay, well, thank you, Bill. Same thing with the road and subdivisions, the timing of that, the Church Street reline being completed, the Pioneer Road Woodlawn Park resurfacing not coming in that fiscal year. And then the year end for the water, sewer, golf course, and MFT fund. Water and sewer is down again with the timing of the DCEO funds coming in for the sewer extension. Any questions before I move on? Okay. So I have this fun slide in here for everybody. I know non-highway vehicles, what's coming in and what's being expensed seems to be a very hot topic. So I thought this would help to kind of put it out there for people to understand where the funds are coming in and going out and what projects are being forwarded. So you have the fiscal year end 2024, the revenue and expenditure, then the projected fiscal year 2025, and then the very bottom one is a whole mashup of since the program started in 2015. So you see I have the stickers, which is the old program, then the plates, goes into the signage. Renewal stickers are the plate stickers that go on. And then you see that we do have a excess of funds there. The registration does also include the donation of the $9,000 that was received in 2022.
Interesting.
Okay. Now, I present you with, wow, how many times did I look at this and it says 2024 proposed budget? Awesome. It's 2025. So find my error. So we have the general fund revenues here. I'm not going to bore you as I read through them because you don't want to hear me. So we're all in line with everything. A lot of these revenues are based off of what IML has predictions of, and then also based on our previous trends of everything. We have the general fund expenditures. Again, everything, the capital fund, the police pension, and the reserves are all in line with our 10-year plan, which you were all given, which will be at the end of the slide as well. Here we have the water sewer fund. Kind of has all that. The balance forward is part of bond money that we have received. We have the MFT fund revenue and expenditure. We have had the carryover from the past few years from the Rebuild Illinois grants that we've been putting aside for the Riverside Drive Road Improvement Project. That's where you see the balance forward there with this state MFT revenues, interest, and then all of it going towards that.
Do we, when gas prices are up, does that affect how much?
Yes.
Yes, it's percentage-wise.
Obviously.
It's a
Yes.
percentage, it's not a set amount.
So it's been a bumper, it's been a boon this year.
Yeah.
Good. Then Becky, in water and sewer, it's basically paying for itself now, right?
Oh, yeah, correct. Yeah.
So it's important to let
Yeah, the
the
water
board
sewer
know. Sorry to
fund,
interrupt,
oh, no, thank you.
Sure.
Has been, look back to it,
Yep.
let's look at that. Has been self-sufficient now for a few years, the bonds, everything coming out of that. And then going into the capital plan, and we've been going through the capital plan, we've updated both the water fund and the general fund to more represent the times that we're in now, the cost of things, especially the water sewer fund, really getting into that, the infrastructure, and making sure that we are putting enough aside that we will be able to replace and take care of it in the future.
And then the new fees are fully implemented, right?
They are, yes. Those went into effect for the May 1.
Okay.
Yeah, review that here. Yep.
Any more questions on water sewer?
No, thanks, Becky.
Any questions on MFT?
Nope.
Any questions on MFT?
No, kind of take that.
We got the golf course fund. Golf course is sustaining itself as well. It looks like this year we should be out of the deficit with a lot of that. The revenues coming in right now are sustaining the bond payment. The work that's being done there is more hands-on than expenditures, so we have been keeping the maintenance costs down. So that's looking very promising with there.
When does that bond finish up? We still got a long time for that, right?
It's a ways, we're only,
Yeah. 5 years in.
probably this is the sixth year, maybe.
Yeah, the 20,
The sixth year.
it was a 20-year,
Yeah.
right? 20-year bond?
Pardon me?
It was a 20-year, right?
20-year bond, there were 6 years into it. This is the start of the sixth year.
Didn't they report the highest, in the 5 years through this year, they reported the highest.
They said they had the
rounds
highest
played
amount of
golf this
rounds.
year as well, so the,
A lot more golf.
the feedback was that the course is improving, so.
That's what I've heard too. But, yeah, people are happy with the course.
Sorry, go ahead.
No, thank you for that. So here's some fiscal year 2025 highlights. They were on the cover of your budget sheet as well. Church Street realignment completion, Sunnyside Drive. We have the Riverside Drive that's going on. The River Sewer extension. We have vehicles. which we're happy are finally coming in. With COVID, we were very delayed. Equipment, new computers, and then some improvements there of some parks and the web design that we got starting up here for redoing our website. Here's a little snip of the general fund capital improvement plan summary. Kind of gives you an idea of what's going with that. Any questions on that before I switch the slide? And here is the 10-year budget projections, which were all handed out. It's a little difficult to read up there on that screen. So we kind of put together some analysis of where we think we're heading based on the trends of where we've been.
I love a color code. Thank you, Becky.
There's a couple of things I'd like to point out to you guys on this spreadsheet here. You'll note that in the past, we used to show a transfer to land and building for the DDG building. Part of that included the bond payment, and that's been restructured. So you'll see how all of a sudden now that's falling off, and that's been moved up just under debt retirement and administration. It was creating a situation where it was just more movement, transfer from here, transfer from there, and it was more straightforward. The general fund is clearly supporting that. So you'll see that that's basically lined out for the rest of the time. Also under sewer and water debt retirement, beginning last year, I would say, it is the first time the sewer and water fund supported the debt service. You'll see that later on we start rolling in where we're still showing the general fund supporting it to a certain degree. If you remember, we structured that bond where the first 5 years were interest only, and then it slowly transitioned into full payments. And so we're anticipating how little by little we're going to continue to see greater contributions from sewer and water supporting that, and eventually will be fully supported. I think this is actually very conservative. I think you're going to see it supporting it even more than what I'm showing here. Sure. But we'll keep monitoring that and see how it's doing.
Then to Cloud had too, the police pension, obviously we got that in plan to get more in line with that too.
Yep, we are in line with our obligations for that as well.
Do we know when we're going
At
to?
this point.
We're exceeding, yeah.
Yeah, okay, we are exceeding it.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. We are bridging that gap quickly.
Yes, good. In 2025 for impact fees and interest, it more than doubles. Triples.
In 2025?
Yes.
Yeah.
So you could start.
Yeah, so on impact fees and interest, the reason you're seeing it higher is the park, wait a minute, impact fees and interest, yeah. Under that is rolling in the park donation. That's why you're seeing that
The
increase.
200,000 or?
180, yeah.
And then you'll see that we projected to go right back down again, too.
Right.
That's not something that's consistent.
Okay.
Same thing in '24, you saw how high we closed out under fees and licenses. A big part of that was there was a large amount for building permits for the Gen Cap workforce housing. That was a pretty large building permit fee that came in for that.
For video gaming tax, is that increase anticipated for more machines?
Video gaming tax?
Over time.
As far as, yeah, the escalator we put in here typically is 2% on pretty much everything, both expenditures, unless it's odd items that we know are one-time hits.
That's
I was
going
going to ask
faster.
about that.
That's going,
It is going to grow faster.
it's going much faster than
It
2%,
is.
because I think I can show.
But what has it been in the past?
It was only like 233, right, or something? What was your slide for that?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So it's been growing really fast. actually.
Yeah, it's growing very
It is.
rapidly.
So 2% is extremely
Maybe
conservative.
if you've dropped in the economy, maybe, well, I don't know, if people might play more, I don't know, so.
We love passive
That's a hard
taxes.
one.
Real estate
Can't wait
tax
until
is,
play.
The answer to that.
real estate tax is consistent every year?
We do that because, remember, any increase we do under real estate tax goes to police pension. So this is just the general corporate tax coming in to support the other services.
Okay, but real estate taxes are.
Of course, they always go up.
Okay.
But we always.
It's like, unless you guys know something different than I do.
You gotta hit those people on the water a little higher, that's what. And then they'll get away with the murder.
Those poor people.
Selling a house pretty soon.
He's taking my cue.
Thanks, Jim.
And you see that any excess, we keep continuing to try to move towards road and infrastructure projects. I can't stress enough how important that is, because we have a lot of big projects coming up that, even though much of it is grant funded, there is still a village contribution as well. Like, Johnsburg Road's going to be done next year. Riverside Drive Ringwood Road is 2 years later, and then we've got Running Brook Farms 2 years later, so there's...
Plus the escalating cost.
Well, exactly. And in addition to that, we're still trying to provide additional funding for just doing our regular resurfacing, because we know MFT is not supporting it enough.
Sure.
So you see, we continue to try to get funds there.
Are there any upcoming, large expenditures that we're going to have on any of the public works stuff?
In terms of equipment, you're talking
Capital.
about?
Yeah, just capital expenditures for some big improvement we have to make to the sewer plant, or
Yeah,
just
no, we are tracking, and we continue to put money aside for that too, knowing that we do have components that are going to be wearing down and need replacement. Actually, I worked with Tim Hartnett and his team this year on reviewing our capital plan, making sure that we added a lot of items on there that weren't included in the past, because of course, since its original inception, there's been a lot of infrastructure that's been added.
Right.
So we are continuing to put money away for that, and ensure that we have the funds when it's needed.
But there's no anticipated at the 25-year mark that we have to go replace something huge that's going to be a big hit.
No, I think the biggest thing too would be when we reach that point of really needing to look at plant expansion, which of course, money's being set aside with tap-on fees and everything too, or connection fees to help support that.
And we're offsetting with depreciation too, Josh, in the capital.
Yeah.
Things like that too as well. So with that, we're looking at how long the life is going to be. But we have looked at, I know finance groups looked at, committee has looked at this too. It's just the cost, I think, is your question too, Josh. Because inflation right now, what things we thought cost 5 years ago now are maybe double, certain things.
Keep in mind, and I'll get the information to you, but the slide that Becky shows you on the capital plan, that is solely the general funds capital plan. There's a completely separate sewer and water capital plan.
Yeah.
So don't think that, you only have 870,000 in there. That is just for the general fund.
Right.
And money, moves in and out of that as we spend it. Like this year, we're obviously going to have a big expenditure. We have a 5-yard truck coming out of there. We have the CSO vehicle needs to be replaced, which is usually only every 7 years or 10 years. And the standard squad that we do, but we also have another pickup truck in Public Works. And a lot of that's really because we weren't able to get these vehicles. They've been on order for 18 months.
been
So it's all kind of
Yeah, the police cars in particular, it seems like, right? What's the change in the administration expense? What's the decrease in 2026 and forward from there?
2026 decrease, $145,000 in project engineering went down. Yeah, so we've got extra engineering for these projects that we're finishing off and continuing on.
Okay, and then it'll probably end up going back up as new projects come in.
Exactly.
Okay.
And it all depends, because of course, in some cases, we have grant funding or there's some other source that's supporting it, but we know in fact that that's kind of extraordinary engineering costs that we had. We had that this year as well too, because as you know, with the Church Street realignment and just construction observation on those projects, things of that nature.
Yeah.
But on the sidewalk project, obviously we're putting everything road and infrastructure projects today, but if we would get a sidewalk grant or something like that too, then we probably would build this out, right?
Exactly.
That's why you're leaving the line item in
Well,
place today.
I do, and actually there is a side, obviously we have a sidewalk project that's going to be coming in next year. I don't know what that dollar amount is.
Okay, gotcha, so that would be placed.
On Riverside Drive.
Riverside Drive,
That's the
excuse me, Riverside
second
Drive,
phase.
yeah, Riverside Drive, yeah.
I don't know what that dollar amount is for the following year. I'll plug that in.
So that path would go in here, and that
Correct.
portion is going to go to, okay, understand. That's what I was asking, because I know we got the
Yeah, I keep that-
downtown area, we got a couple other things we did. I know there's other initiatives to get more sidewalks.
Plus, right, we don't want to lose sight of that too. It's an
Yep.
important component that you want to put in there. Again, the Ringwood Road project is including a sidewalk extension. The Johnsburg Road project, we're incorporating some sidewalk extension in that too. But that's really kind of that'll fall into the road infrastructure project, because it's part of that whole improvement.
Yeah, and at some point here, we're going to have to get that parking lot done
Yes.
downtown.
Yeah, actually, I'm working on resubmitting for that grant again.
Good, yeah, because that's,
Yeah, I think that's due in August.
Okay. Yeah, that would be a really, really nice one to have to help us.
And it may even be that we're just going to have to look at multiple sources too.
Yeah.
Because I feel like that particular funding source is, I just don't know if we're in the county that's getting a lot of money for that source, if you know what I mean.
That's true.
So I think we're definitely going to have to expand out and look what else we can get.
Any more questions on the 10-year budget projection? Questions in general?
We didn't wait till the end, did we?
Oh, it's okay, I know you asked what you think of it.
We're not very patient people.
Yes. With you. Thank you, Becky.
Thank you, Claudette. Thank you, Becky. Great job.
Everybody.
Thank you, Greg.
Well, Claudette, Becky, thank you very much. Thanks to the finance committee. I know JD was here, but he left, but he was part of the group too. But I want to thank everybody. We did approve the budget for you guys
Nice.
today.
Thank
So,
you.
thank you to Claudette and Becky for putting it all together.
Thank you, guys.
Hats off.
Greg shows up late for those
Yeah.
meetings too.
I actually show up on time to those meetings. Contrary to believe, I show up. Becky knows I show up on time. I show up on time.
Now we know where the priorities are.
I don't always have quorum sometimes at certain times, but we're okay.
Okay. Okay, move to approve fiscal year 2025 budget.
I will motion.
We have a motion by trustee Falk, seconded by trustee Morris. Any further discussion on the motion or questions? With there being none, trustee Morris. Trustee Hagan.
Aye.
Trustee Clemson.
Aye.
Trustee Foreman.
Hi.
Trustee Falk and trustee Lester. Motion carried.
Warn us before you. Nope.
Move to approve ordinance 24-25-02, amending section social media of the Village of Johnsburg Human Resources Policies and Procedures. Okay,
Motion is second.
motion in a second, yep. Look for motion in a second. Motion by trustee Morris, second
Yeah.
Okay, I'll second.
by trustee Falk. Discussion on the motion.
Yeah,
Go ahead, Mike.
I read it, but I just would ask for maybe a little more in-person.
Clarification on that?
Yeah.
Some clarification.
Yes.
So what's come to our attention, and some other communities have been experiencing this as well, is first and foremost, the Secretary of State's office has sent out information regarding guidance on social media used in a government setting. I highly recommend not allowing two-way communication, that it's only a form of one-way communication now. And the reason for that is because anything that is posted on your social media, you have to leave up there, regardless of how vulgar it may be. Whether it's an image or anything inappropriately said, you cannot take it down. And so, it's been highly recommended. I know your firm as well, Michael, recommends to your clients as well to continue to make it one way. It always was one way. Something changed probably in the last few years, but we really feel that we need to tighten up our ordinance to state that there's no posting. I mean, we put information out, it's our means of communicating to you what's going on. But you can't pick and choose what you allow to keep up there, whether it's a nice, friendly comment, or even just somebody that says, I don't like that, that's fine. But if somebody does something very vulgar, we cannot take it down, and that is our social media site.
And I think that's prompted the Secretary of State's memorandum and suggestion by virtue of case laws coming down, particularly at the federal level, that these cases are being decided. And what the courts are determining is if you have a two-way communication, even if it's an electronic forum, that's a public forum. And so what our concern is that, and I had a discussion with this a few nights ago with a different municipality, and basically reiterated what Claudette just expressed, and they listened to it and they said, but we can always take down the communication. No. We went through the discussion, the federal districts, the case law. So yeah, but we can use filters to prevent that. No. And that's what's prompting this concern. And I think the village needs to be aware in connection with this policy that if left alone, that comment, and I don't have to give you guys examples of obscene, inappropriate, whatever.
Are you even talking like racial?
Of course.
Racist terms? in it?
Yes.
You would have to keep.
You know what, Scott? Everything across the board.
Stays.
And I'll tell you what.
Freedom of speech.
I'll tell you what I kind of have in mind.
It's freedom of speach is what it is. It's not
First
it's true.
Amendment.
First Amendment rights, right?
Kind of what I have in mind, which I think prompts this, was comments made on a blog that I think are just beyond the pale. So if someone wants to make a First Amendment expression and express that to you here, someone says it here, it's fair game. We don't have a choice. We have to have public comment. But I think it's that face-to-face that inhibits people from saying what they would otherwise say on an electronic forum.
Yeah, hiding behind the keyboard.
Hide behind the keyboard, and it happens. And so what I don't want there to be a mistake about is, well, if it's obscene, we can take it down. No, this is what the courts are emphasizing. And two, well, what happens, Michael, what's the worst case scenario if we just take it down? Worst case scenario is the case that comes out where the person takes the challenge up to the federal district court and they decide, yes, taking it down was a violation of a civil right. Not that there's a monetary value on the civil right by itself. You know, you can't monetize that, you can't value it. But the damages and the impact to the village or the municipality is the attorney's fees. And there's no rule about it being commensurate or proportionate to what was suffered. You just get them. So if someone incurs $500,000 taking this up to the federal district court, the circuit court, the Supreme Court, they get their fees. There's no situation where, you know, say that an attorney brings an eviction action, he or she collects $2,000 in rent, and the court says, I'm not giving you more than a few $100s because that's not proportionate to what you brought in. That's too. With respect to local government, state government, federal government, there is no limitation. You get the attorney's fees. So I think that's the issue that I'm asking the village to consider is, and there's a policy decision made here, on whether to have that public forum up and going or to say, no, we're not going to do it because people are not appropriate at times, to say the least.
Well, and I don't have any form of social media, so that's why we needed a little more clarification. I don't use anything. So
Smart.
basically what we're saying is, in any village, like our Facebook page and blogs, it's just, this is the info and it blocks people from answering or responding to it.
Yeah, and the dilemma I think the village is going to face at some point is, at some point, it's already happened to some extent in a different format, different medium. You're going to have a wildly inappropriate comment on that public forum.
Yeah, okay. I totally understand.
And when the staff gets calls like, oh my God, I've just seen this, take this down. This doesn't represent Johnsburg. It doesn't represent its values. It's not, we're opening up the public forum at 3:15. We're closing down the public forum at 4:30 when there's something inappropriate on there. You can't turn this on and off. And this is different than, but the analogy is, you know, if we have a public forum where we traditionally allow protests, if you're Chicago, you know, where people protest in Grant Park, you can't discriminate between forms of expression. That person gets to use Grant Park, the next person gets to use Grant Park. But here, I'm not encouraging the village to have that public forum on its social media. And I understand there's going to be value to it for 99.9% of the people, but I don't want the village to be taken aback when, what do you mean we can't take that down? That is so blatantly offensive to our values as a community, it's going to remain. And the risk is, if you just like, oh, just take it down nonetheless, that's where people can go to court, and if there's a civil rights violation, even if that's not valued in terms of money, it's the attorney's fees.
Is this fairly new? Because, I mean,
No.
businesses can take down bad reviews.
But the difference is, they're not a state actor. We
Yep.
are.
Yep.
We're a unit of local government. And Ace Hardware does, their sidewalk is not a public forum, their social media, they're not the government. So they can flip it off and say, that's outrageous, we're turning it down. We're different, we're government, different rules, and it's something I want the village to consider and think about so that we're not surprised. But this has been going on for a couple of years, and it started with President Trump blocking people on Twitter. That's where this issue that, to my knowledge, first came up. And people are saying, well, wait a minute, that's a public forum. It's got the President of the United States on it, it's paid for by the government. Where does he get off telling me I can't post on there? So that's where it started, but it's more specific now. The most recent case was out of Michigan with respect to a county official saying, hey, this was supposed to be my private page, and there's a balancing test. But the point is that if it's determined to be a government blog, which there's no question the villages are, and something's posted, and we have that normal two-way communication, it stays. If you take it down, you're at risk.
So we're still able to post though, right? Just post without
Well, yeah,
allowing
we'll
for
post, but
comment. Okay,
people
good.
can't comment on the
Good,
post.
okay.
So you're gonna block that, and then no DMs if somebody tries to direct message somebody through Facebook?
That's already been blocked.
That's blocked too,
Yeah,
or we just,
we've
or
never
we
allowed
put something
that.
out there saying we do not, please email us or whatever if you have a comment, concern, we don't respond to any DMs or whatever.
No.
It was that way, right? It was that way and we changed it? No?
It used to always be that way.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
It was
So
always that way.
We're just changing it back,
Yeah,
really.
and we're making it
Because-
official within our policy.
Right.
Yeah, and it's just, I understand the value of it, it's just that you have bad characters out there.
And then does this apply to personal accounts also?
No, we don't have that authority.
Okay.
Not that I'm trying to
Yeah,
extend it to that,
This
but
is just the
no.
villages.
So it matters how you're,
This is the official village of
The village,
Johnsburg.
exactly.
Yeah,
Right.
okay.
but how you interact with.
Yeah, just the way, again, just
Comments.
the way that it's,
Well, it says
I read
its
it a little.
capacity
Yeah.
as an employee,
Right.
that's why it's written that way.
Okay, thank you.
yeah, that's a good idea.
Okay.
I know.
Anything else? With there being none, on the roll. Trustee Morris. Trustee Hagan.
Aye.
Trustee Klumstein.
Aye.
Trustee Foreman.
Aye.
Trustee Falk. And Trustee
Aye.
Motion carried.
Since we had those, we probably should take it off like MySpace.
Could we have a motion to adjourn the special board meeting?
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
I'll second.
Okay, motion by Trustee Foreman, seconded by Trustee Falk. On the roll, Trustee Morris, Trustee Hagan, Trustee Klumstein.
Aye.
Trustee Foreman,
Aye.
Trustee Falk. Trustee Metzger. Closed. Okay.